Have you ever stumbled upon a truth so bizarre, so jarringly out of place, that your brain rejects it before your heart even catches up? That was me, standing in the staff room of St. Helena's Academy, blinking at the ultrasound photo someone had left behind. It wasn't the baby in the image that stunned me. It was the name scrawled at the top. Margaret Elwood, 62. Headmistress. My mentor. The woman who hired me. And beside it, another file. My best friend's name. Daniel Knox. I've been teaching literature at St. Helena's for almost 9 years now. It's a conservative, ivy-covered institution nestled in a sleepy English town where gossip moved faster than the wind. Everything about the school was traditional: morning assemblies, crisp uniforms, chalkboards that should have been retired decades ago. And then there was Margaret Elwood, the headmistress. Tall, statuesque, commanding in every sense of the word, with her silver hair always coiled into a bun like a crown. She walked the halls with purpose, wielded discipline like a sword, but spoke with a warmth that made you feel like she knew your soul better than you did. She was a widow. Her husband, a theology professor, had passed 15 years ago, and since then, Margaret had poured her life into the school. She wasn't just respected. She was revered. Daniel Knox, on the other hand, was the polar opposite. 35, full of energy, tattoos hidden under his gym shirts, and a laugh so loud it echoed through the locker rooms. He coached rugby, taught PE, and had an infectious way of making even the shyest kid feel like a star athlete. We became fast friends, drinking buddies on Friday nights. Confidants. So imagine my confusion when I saw their names linked in that ultrasound file. 2 lives from different worlds, now tied by something primal and intimate. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. A cruel joke. Maybe a mix-up at the clinic? But the handwriting was Margaret's. That elegant, looping script I'd seen 1,000 times on faculty memos. My hands trembled as I put the file back. And then I started to notice the cracks I had missed. I told myself to forget it. People deserve their privacy. But something gnawed at me. The image of Daniel laughing with his arms slung around me the night before, drunk off gin and secrets. "Do you ever think about quitting?" he had asked out of nowhere. I remember laughing. "And leave you to run the Friday dodgeball massacre alone?" But now those words felt loaded. His eyes hadn't met mine when he said it. And he'd been distant lately. Distracted. Showing up late. Leaving early. I couldn't help it. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. That Monday, I lingered in the staff room until Margaret came in. She didn't see me at first. She moved slowly, like her body was no longer her own. She poured tea, sat down with a soft grunt, and for the first time, I noticed the curve of her belly beneath her tailored blazer. God. It wasn't a rumor. I wasn't prepared for the truth, but I also couldn't stay silent. I confronted Daniel 2 days later, after rugby practice. We stood near the bleachers, the cold biting at our skin. "You lied to me," I said flatly. He blinked. "About what?" "You and Margaret. The baby." He didn't deny it, just looked away and exhaled like he'd been holding it in forever. "It wasn't supposed to happen," he finally said. "We started talking after my father died last year. She understood grief in a way no one else did. And now she's pregnant." I snapped. Daniel's eyes glistened. "I didn't plan this. Neither did she." It was surreal, standing there listening to my friend describe an affair that sounded more like a confessional than a scandal. He told me about the nights he stayed late at school, how they bonded over books, over loss, over loneliness that age couldn't cure. "She's more alive than anyone I've ever known," he said. "With her, I don't feel like some dumb gym teacher. I feel seen." And yet, I couldn't help but think of the fallout. The board, the students, the parents. "They'll crucify you both," I said. "I know," he whispered, "but I'm not walking away." Margaret asked to speak to me privately the next morning. We met in her office, books lining every wall, the scent of lavender tea filling the room. "I suppose you know," she said softly. I nodded. She sighed and looked out the window. "I was married for 31 years. And in all that time I did everything by the book. I played the role of the perfect wife, the perfect headmistress. I gave everything to others and nothing to myself. Her voice cracked. But when Daniel looked at me, he didn't see a relic. He didn't see a woman past her prime. He saw me. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't think I could still feel this desired, or foolish, or alive. The vulnerability in her voice cut through my judgment like a knife. I realized I had been seeing her through the lens the world handed me: headmistress, elder, authority. I never once thought of her as a woman with desires, regrets, dreams. "What about the baby?" I asked gently. Her hand moved to her belly. "I've been to 4 doctors. They were shocked, of course. But it's real. A 1 in a million miracle. I don't know what comes next, but I'm not terminating." Silence stretched between us, thick with understanding. "You're going to fight them?" I asked. She smiled faintly. "I've fought for this school for 3 decades. I think it's time I fought for myself." The board called an emergency meeting 3 weeks later. Whispers filled the corridors, headlines flashed across local news sites, and angry parents demanded accountability. But Margaret didn't hide. She stood before the board, visibly pregnant, and delivered a speech that would be remembered long after she stepped down. "I have not broken any laws," she said. "What I've done is challenged your ideas about age, love, and the right to live fully, even at 62. She resigned that day, with grace. On her terms. Daniel went with her. Months passed. I got postcards from Wales, where they moved into a cottage by the sea. Their daughter was born in spring. They named her Hope. I visited once. Daniel was tired but happy. Margaret looked radiant, her silver hair now loose and flowing. "I don't expect the world to understand us," she said, holding the baby close. "But we do." I stood there, humbled, watching 2 people who had defied the world to build something strange and beautiful. Sometimes love doesn't come in the form we expect. Sometimes it makes no sense. But that doesn't make it any less real. And when I think of Margaret now, I don't see a scandal. I see courage. I see reinvention. I see a woman who dared to live.